if you did not watch the SpeedQB finals at Project N1 on YouTube, you're not an airsoft nerd. At least not to the level that I am, because apparently there's levels of this game, and I'm one of the elite hardcore airsoft nerds. So that's a great prestigious title? I don't know. Anyway, what did I think? Let's start off with the storyline that I saw with the Demo headshot. You can go on his IG and see it. It's pretty great. Let's go back in time to, I believe, Jungle Ball, about summer 2019. I'm not going to look it up. It's hardcore nerds will know what I'm talking about. Where I believe it was Figgy from LTD got a headshot on DJ before DJ got picked up with SYG. It was a dope headshot too. It went viral. I was like, oh, it's bad for the sport. Shut up. Anyway, so that happened. Fast forward. DJ is now a member of SYG, and he's competing against LTD. He's on the same team as Demo. So now Demo gets a headshot on one of the LTD members. So part of me was like, ooh, is that retribution? Was that vengeance for your teammate? I saw an interesting story over there. I saw like some, like what's the Call of Duty achievement where you kill the guy that killed your partner? Is that vengeance? Is that avenge kill? Something like that? That's basically how I saw it. But apparently not a lot of people picked up on that because, again, hardcore nerd. Super fan. A couple of people in the chat were talking about like, these people are biased against these people, blah, 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 blah. Look, you can always try to make an argument that some official or some representative had a bias or had favoritism, blah, 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 whatever. Do I think that was real? Nope. No, I do not think that was real. I don't think bias are good for business. Even the perception is just not good for a brand. So you could make two cases. You could say that the refs were biased in favor of LTD because Project N1 has been historically known as an LTD field. You could try and make that argument. Is that argument probably going to be really on a weak, shaky foundation? Yeah, because I know a lot of those guys, and it's not how they roll. It's not the kind of people they are. You could try and say that somehow SpeedQB was biased in favor of SYG because they're basically the same. It's the same people running it. Okay, I'll listen to the arguments because I wasn't there, so I don't know what may or may not have happened behind the scene, but I don't believe it. Because it's bad for business to do that. It's bad. So I don't really think the refs were in favor of LTD or they were in favor. If they do that and that gets out, then they're going to lose money because they're going to lose attention and then they're going to lose participation. They're going to lose competitors. The brand and the field will be watered down. That's not what you want when you're a for-profit entity. So no, I don't believe any of those things are real. Unless someone wants to hit me up in the DMs later and be like, here's what happened behind the scene. Like, oh, okay, that's different. I didn't get any of that information. I just watched a really cool event. What do I see for the future of the format going forward? I would like to see the point system go away. I understand, as if we look at it in terms of an athletic event as a sport, you want to have some sort of metric, some sort of point system for spectators. So you can watch a football game and you know who is winning by just looking at the scoreboard. So I understand that. I'm telling you, from running point-based events, dude, they are such a pain in the butt sometimes. Especially if you're low staff, especially if you don't have like a lot of high-tech stuff. Point-based, like, oh, it's this amount of points for this objective, this amount of points for, oh, it's such a pain in the butt sometimes. What I would like to see is the point system go away and it just becomes a matter of elimination. That's what I would like. So less points and more objective. So instead of player elimination is worth X amount of points, just a player elimination is a player elimination. That's what I would like to see. And down on the score, if you could have like a scoreboard thing down on the bottom, just kind of like Call of Duty style, like little stick figures representing how many players are live and how many players are dead, so on and so forth, and who's maybe a little indicator of who's currently winning, kind of like poker, where it gives like the statistical probability of who's going to win based on the hand. Maybe like these guys are winning because of eliminations or something. Point being, I'm not a fan of point systems, but I understand why they're used from a spectator point of view. I get it. I don't like them. Where do I see the brand with the format going? At some point, I think for brand awareness and to get eyes on the sport, at some point, SpeedQB will leave N1. Not in a bad way. It's not like it's not a slight against the field against N1. N1's one of my favorite fields to play at in the world. Granted, I've only played in California, Oregon. Shut up, that's not the point. But let's remember that N1 isn't bringing in a bunch of new players. That's not like if you're a brand new player, you're not going to usually take like a 12-year-old newbie to go play Friday nights against LTD. Like that's usually not the best business model. But that's why I love N1 so much, because I don't want to play around Reynolds. So there's a business thing there. I could see SpeedQB going to Battle Lab. What's Battle Lab? It's the new EVIC Outpost field opening up in Ontario, which is in the LA area. It's like the very northern part, like northeast part of LA-ish area. I could see him going there because I have a feeling that field is going to do very well. If you haven't sort of branched out to look at the Battle Lab field, take a look at it, because it's basically Dave and Buster's, but instead of video games, they have airsoft fields. So it's like a restaurant bar with an airsoft field. And I bet that's going to bring in a lot of new players, because it's not just an airsoft field. It's a regular business that you can go to without even playing airsoft. You can't go to Tax City usually and not play airsoft. That's what it's specifically for. You can't go to N1 and just not play airsoft. It's an airsoft-based business. Battle Lab, you go there for a beer, if I understand its business model correctly. You could go there for lunch. You could go there anytime you want to have just food, and it also happens to be an airsoft field. So it's a way to bring in a non-airsoft market into the airsoft market by taking a very common business model, which is a restaurant, sports bar, I'm not really sure how they label themselves, and then attaching airsoft to it. So for brand awareness and to grow the brand, the format, the sports, etc., I could see SpeedQB getting attached to Battle Lab. But the caveat to that is going to be, because it's an EVIC outpost, how much control does EVIC have over that? Because EVIC, if you went to AirsoftCon, that's not really their market. The key demographic, for the most part, for EVIC, for AirsoftCon, was cosplayers. If you want to challenge me on this, go look at any media from AirsoftCon. Go look at who the big figures were. They didn't have Demo on the panel. They didn't have Figgy on the panel. They didn't have any competitive player featured. They didn't pay any influencer that was competitive. No. They didn't invite LTD. They didn't have SYG. No. Vloggers and cosplayers for the most part. Not diminishing Kelly or Jet or any of those guys, but I've never seen them play competitive airsoft. That's not their repertoire. It's not their thing. It's not their niche. That's not their audience. Cool, fine. That's okay. But the competitive side of airsoft isn't a part of EVIC's current target market. Could that change if they bring SpeedQB in? Yeah, I could see that changing. If you go to the EVIC store, the main store in Alhambra, look at where they sell the dye masks. It's in a little section about the size of a kid's closet, and they just sort of have them there. Versus now, if you look around the store and you look at all the little plastic torso models, they have military-style plate carriers on, helmets, and eye pro. I think only one of those demos has a full face mask on. That's significant. That tells you who their target market is. So, ending that big rant, I think depending on how much, say, the field has versus how much, say, EVIC has, I could see that being big. I could really see that being. Keep an eye on Battle Labs, because I think they're gonna threaten the market for a lot of fields that don't have the best reputation in the airsoft community. I think they represent a big threat. towards the end of the stream, Eric said he was going to come back next season and compete. I would say that right now, Eric and Demo or Dylan have the potential to be the best ambassadors to SpeedQB to the mainstream airsoft world. Those are the two best dudes that can do it. I'm not saying anyone else can't do it as well. I'm saying given the fact that Eric's been running commentary and doing a lot of media stuff for SpeedQB, he's already a SpeedQB face. And given that Dylan already has this huge target market of players and he's known as just being a genuinely nice guy to be around, I think they can I think they can build up the brand more as ambassadors versus players. My recommendation would be from a business standpoint, as just a hardcore fan. That's all I am, just a fan who loves SpeedQB for whatever reason. I'm obsessed with it. I would say, if you want to compete, don't compete in SpeedQB. Go to Jungle Ball, do other tournament formats, go to whatever VIP might be putting on internally. I would, for the sake of neutrality, I would stay out of SpeedQB events and I'd stay behind the mic and I'd keep working with fields. I would keep doing media. I would continue to be the incredible face of SpeedQB. Brother, you did it. I don't know how you judge your performance on the mic this season. As someone that watches a lot of boxing, who's fascinated by what the Logan Paul KSI fight meant to boxing and marketing, and I will do a video on that. As someone who watches boxing, as someone who watches fights, as someone who's cornered fighters in the ring, as someone who's done these things, you killed it. You killed it as commentary on the mic. I would say keep doing that. I don't know if anyone else can do it as well as you. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm saying from what I saw, that's it, baby. You hit the nail on the head. Keep doing it. I understand the need to, or the desire to compete with your squad. But again, I would recommend staying away from the SpeedQB lineup for that. Because one of the main, I don't know if criticisms or one of the main perceptions that people say about SpeedQB is, oh, it's just SYG's tournament format. Yes and no. Yes, in the sense that if you look at the original teams, yes, SYG was one of the original teams that started up that format, and those guys turned it into a business, which is now called SpeedQB. Yeah, in that sense, yes. But in the sense of like, oh, if SYG doesn't win, they don't blah, 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 SpeedQB doesn't give them all this media attention. No. Stop. Look at it as a business, a for-profit business that really depends on community's perception. No. Again, unless you've got some insider information, some quantified physical evidence to show me that says, hey, bro, you're wrong. Here's what's going on behind the scenes. It's just an opinion. But I think Eric and Dylan would be better ambassadors than players for the whole of the sport. Why do you think I barely play anymore? I really don't play a whole lot. I've never competed because I put on all the events for the field. If you look at all the airsoft events in Northern California under a competitive format, I'm not here to toot my own horn, but I put on the most. Airsoft Ministry puts on the most competitive form. We've done SpeedQB. It was kind of janky, but we did it. We've done Jungle Ball. We've done MLA events. We've done TDM. We've done Speedsoft. We've done it because I'm obsessed with it. But because of that, I don't get to compete myself. And you're talking to a guy who was a competitive shooter at a decent level, who loved to compete in firearms. I did Army shooting competitions. I did law enforcement shooting competitions. I love them. But now, I'm an adult. I'm a dad to about 150 airsoft kids, and I take that joy and that love of competing, and I pass it on to the next generation. Does it suck that I don't get to compete? Yeah. Am I going to try and compete in some events outside of my own field? Yes. Do I really play that much anymore? No. Because I feel like that if I'm not on the field reffing, then these kids are going to have a crummy time. Because, my staff is we're short-staffed, or, they have something going on, but I feel like if I'm not helping to manage the field, then the field won't be as fun for 150 kids. So I would rather sacrifice my own personal enjoyment of playing on the field with my friends so that 150 kids who are new players to the sport can enjoy it. Another interesting thing that I saw was that during the SpeedQB event, it was announced that DJ and Phantom got picked up by SYG. First of all, congratulations. I've met those guys, and they're not only are they stand-up dudes, they're very intelligent, very smart guys in the business, and those dudes grind and put in work. They didn't get picked up by SYG because of their Instagram following or because they have these sponsors. No, 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 no. They got picked up for their individual efforts as competitors because they're savages. I've seen them compete firsthand. I saw them in the Stockton events. Dudes are legit competitors. Anyway, I think it's interesting that two of them got picked up, and that Dylan and Eric started doing so much more with SpeedQB. The airsoft conspirator in me wonders if those two guys got picked up because Eric and Dylan are going to start doing more stuff with the SpeedQB brand and having less to do with the SYG brand. That's what I would... It's going to sound weird when I say that's what I would like to see, but for the sake of the SpeedQB brand and its development, that's what I would like to see. Again, it's rough to not compete with your boys when you want to, but hey man, SpeedQB ain't going to grow on its own. It's going to take a lot of hard work and a lot of really innovative dudes, and Eric might be one of the most innovative dudes in the game. Look what he did with KWA. Look at the Mod 1 Special Edition design that he did. Look at his work as a graphics designer the proper title? Please don't hit me. Look at the work that he's done with the Call of Duty franchise. Dude, it's legit. He has legit skills beyond shooting kids in the face. And I would like to see him use those skills more to help develop the SpeedQB brand. And that's it. Hey, we're under 20 minutes. And I'm probably going to edit this down to maybe under 19 minutes. So bye.